Let's start. Okay, welcome everybody to Let's Make Art. I'm so happy that you're here to paint with us. Tonight we are painting the iris. That's what I forgot, the reference photo. Will you grab the reference photo off the shelf? Can you do that? And I'm going to introduce everybody. I'm Sarah Cray. I talk the entire time. I'm sorry. It's just the way I am. We have Hannah here painting with us. I'm so excited to have her paint. And we have Jessie here painting with us. And these are just some lovely gals that I know, and I'm really excited to paint with them. This is my husband, Michael. He's running camera. So I'll be talking to him. Also, he's very funny.
Yeah,
Honey.
set me up.
I know, I was like, now I set you up. Now you gotta be funny. Okay, so we have 4 colors tonight that we are using. We are using magenta, Tahoe blue, leaf green, and lemon yellow. Now I know on the sheet it says dandelion yellow, but in your boxes you got lemon yellow, and they are very similar in color. But I'm gonna use lemon yellow tonight. You can use dandelion, you can use whatever yellow you have.
Time out. I'm so
What?
sorry.
What?
WLCA just said, Michael, I just started watching that show.
Oh no, you
I'm
ruined
sorry.
it. I told you would ruin it. You spoiled it.
Keep going.
Okay, sorry if you haven't seen Downton Abbey and Michael spoiled it, some of it for you. But, okay, so with iris we have those 4 colors. Essentially what we're looking for is a pink, a blue, a green, and a yellow. Those are the 4 colors that we're using, so whatever you have at home, go ahead and grab those colors. Now we have 4 steps to this project. So the very first step we are gonna do are the petals. And that's actually going to be the longest step. So usually in the paint-alongs, like the first 2 steps are pretty quick and we're like, yeah, this one is the longer part, the very first step. So don't get frustrated, just stick with it. You guys are going to do great. Second step that we are going to do is we're going to do the yellow centers on the flower. The third step is we are going to do the stem and the bud. So we're just going to knock those out at the same time. And the very last step is just details. So it's just a little bit of these detail lines on the petals to give it that kind of roughly feel. Honey, people are so mad at you about Downton right now. Okay.
It's still worth your time.
Somebody has asked how much paint I put in my palette. So if you guys can see, can you do an overhead shot really quick so they can see my palette? This one I'm sharing with Jessie, so I put a little bit more than I usually would. And also when I'm mixing colors, I tend to do 2 piles. So like the yellow, I know that I'm gonna mix with my pink, and I also know that I'm gonna mix it with my green. So that's why I have 2 piles there, and that way I don't accidentally contaminate one of the yellows and then I can't mix it in with another color. So that's why I usually have double piles, but I usually do, like, if this is your subscription bottle that you get, if it's just you, I would maybe do like, oh, we're almost out. Like just like half a squirt or something. Because you can always add more, but also don't stress about it because these paints you can bring back up after they dry. So if you put too much paint on your palette, you can just let it dry and then bring it and then paint the next day with those same colors. Okay. So, are you guys excited?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna do the outline first and then we'll do our warm-ups because once I start painting, I like to get straight into it and I don't wanna stop and do the outline after we do our warm-ups. So, if you have our subscription box or a kit, then an outline should have been included, or you can just go to our website, letsmakeart.com, and download this for free. Now, when we outline, I'm actually going to do it on this paper. So you get your outline and you are going to want to, oh, Anna asked if I could say hi to her daughter, Anna Clara. She's 5. Hi, Anna Clara. Thank you for watching me tonight.
5 is my favorite age.
5 is the best age.
My daughter being 5. She was so cute.
She's still cute.
She's still cute, but when she was 5, she was so cute.
So you're going to take your outline and you're going to tape it onto your paper. And I'm just using painter's tape for this, or you can use washi tape. If you have regular tape and you don't have those other tapes, then hit it against your pants or a fuzzy sweater to make it not as sticky, so then when you tear it off, it won't rip. And then you're gonna take your graphite paper. So your graphite paper, there is like a heavy side and then there's a lighter side. So you're gonna wanna put your graphite paper dark side down onto your tracing on your watercolor paper.
So the shiny part.
So the shiny part you're gonna put down, face down. Now whatever marks you make holding this, the graphite is gonna transfer onto your paper. And so if I like press super hard with my thumb, it might show up. Oh good, it didn't. Okay, but just keep that in mind. And then you're gonna wanna trace it. Now before you start, I just wanna warn you that if you press hard, your line is gonna be super dark, and watercolor is transparent, so you will see that outline through the watercolor. So I would suggest trying to go as light as you possibly can. I'm gonna go a little bit darker just so you guys can see it better on camera. But what I always like to do is I always like to test it first and then take a look and see how light or dark it is. If it's too dark, then I'm just gonna do a lighter pressure. So I'm like barely touching it. If it's too light, then I'll press a little bit harder, but try and do it as light as you can. That way those lines won't show through.
You want a little Iris fact while you're tracing?
Yes.
Iris was the Greek goddess of the rainbow. That's why they named him that.
Really?
Yeah.
I love you and your facts. Oh. Now another thing that you can use is a marker. So I'm using a marker for this, and it's a soft point, so it's not going to be as hard of a line. So sometimes when I'm tracing and I don't want to like maybe get a super hard edge, is I'll just use actually a marker to trace, and because it's a softer tip in general, then it's going to make a softer line on your paper.
Someone also suggested a stylus, like for your iPad or something, makes a better
Oh,
line
yeah,
too.
yeah, that would work too. And the nice thing about using a marker is that it's colored, so you can see where you've drawn and not drawn. Now this one, there are a lot of little lines, and remember with our outlines, it's not like set in stone, you know what I mean? Like these are just general shapes and general like shading and that kind of thing. So if you miss a line, don't stress, just kind of eyeball it. It's not a big deal. But the reason why I tape it down is that way I can like check it and move my paper around and do all of that stuff. If I didn't have it taped down and then my paper moved, I would be out of luck.
Can you erase these lines after?
So you can sometimes take like a kneaded eraser and try and lighten them up, but if the line is too dark, it doesn't make it that much lighter. You can't totally erase it. Now they do have transfer paper that is watercolor, like kind of like a watercolor pencil where when water hits it, the lines will dissolve, which is really cool. The only bummer with that is like the detail lines of where like shadings and stuff go, those would be erased once you put your initial layer down. So depending on what you're painting, that could work out better for you.
Is there a way to lighten the graph paper line once you've made it too dark?
You can try and slightly erase it, but it doesn't erase a lot. I've been able to kind of lighten mine. The other thing I would suggest doing is your graphite paper is reusable. So stick with one sheet your entire time of doing this, and as your graphite paper gets used, the lines will just, the graphite will gradually wear off, and so your lines will just automatically be lighter over time.
Okay, 2 more questions. Where's the tracing paper in your monthly kit?
If you have our monthly subscription box and you look inside of the Let's Make Art Matter postcard, it is folded up in there.
And where are your tiny gold rings from?
My tiny gold rings are from Free People.
All right.
And don't worry, we are communicating a way where people know where the graphite paper is now, because we don't let anybody know where it is. Like we don't have a sticker on the outside of the postcard that's like graphite paper in here. We're working on that.
We're getting Iris jokes. I'm gonna say some.
We're getting
How do you know
Iris jokes already?
Yeah. How do you know flowers can kiss?
How?
They have 2 lips. How are you gonna paint this? You're just gonna pedal through it. Oh, and there's one more.
I love these.
Man, there's a ton of comments. Oh, did you hear about the flower that did not bloom? It was a bad omen. That was mostly just June.
You
Thank
guys,
June.
I love you. I love your puns. You're so amazing. I'm glad I'm not alone. in my pun love, because I truly think they're the best. Okay, I'm gonna retrace. So I'm done with mine, but this first petal looks really light that I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm just gonna redo it really quick and press a little bit harder. Val says she's from Kentucky, first time painting along with her 10-year-old daughter. Welcome, welcome you guys. So glad you're here, ready to paint. Yes, Rita, I'm darkening my outline right now. There. Michael, how are those vanilla wafers? So good?
They're very good. I have to keep muting my mic because it sounds like chewing.
Okay, I'll darken this one too.
Campbell Condiff is from Kearney, Missouri. Kearney.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to call it Kearney. He works for your distributor.
I know who Campbell is.
Hi, Campbell.
Campbell, I know who you are. Hello.
If I stopped there, I would still think I was fancy.
That is so, you did a really good job getting that nice and light. Good job, Hannah. Okay, now what we're going to do, oh sorry, I kind of moved on without you. How are you
June
doing?
got one more. What
We got another joke, I'm ready.
do you say when you want a flower to go faster?
What?
Floor it. Like a
Uh,
floret.
Julie said she's so excited to be here and loves the tutorials. Julie, thank you so much. I'm so excited you're here. You guys are the best. Okay, after you do your outline, I want you to put it to the side because we're going to do a couple warm-ups. And I like doing warm-ups before our live paint-alongs because that way you can kind of get used to the paint and water and kind of understand some techniques that we're going to use in the main painting, and it's a nice way to, like, you know, get used to it. Michael, Diana wants to know if you have any spoilers for The Walking Dead.
I got plenty if you really want me to.
Oh, here. Here is more. You can use that yellow, and if you just want to put it in the middle of there. Sorry, I put too much on your palette. That's why it's spreading so much. Okay.
Lizzie prefers to drink wine and just watch these and then paint them the next day. I think that's
the way to do
method.
it. That is the
You're doing it
preferred
right.
method.
You're doing the Lord's work.
You can enjoy all of the jokes just hanging out. That sounds great.
That's how you know that you're good, because people are here for like,
Just
they just like you.
like, I'm just gonna watch this. It's not a bad way to spend your time.
No, that's what I do if I can't sleep at night.
Really?
Is that weird? That's always so weird.
You're like, I watch your videos when I can't sleep at night. You're like, never mind, never.
Just like relaxing.
You know what? I 100% agree because watching Bob Ross paint on Netflix, he has all of his shows on Netflix.
It's not weird, right?
It's not weird.
Okay.
Listen, I like you too. We're fine.
Husband's gonna be like, Hannah, you're so weird.
No, you're really great, and I appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Okay, so for our warm-up, so just take out a scratch sheet. Now, on your watercolor paper, both sides are really, really similar, but there is technically a front and a back. So on the back part, it's gonna be slightly smoother. Now this paper does not have a lot of texture or like tooth, like not a lot of roughness. So sometimes what I'll actually do is look at the glare of the light, and the one in the front has a little bit more grain to it than the back side. It's really difficult to tell, and it doesn't make a huge difference. So if you paint on with this paper, so if you paint on the back with this, don't stress out. I've done it before, and most of the time, nobody even knows. But if you can, try and paint on the rougher side. So the very first thing that we're gonna do is I just wanna show you how we're gonna mix our purples really quick. Now, I could have just put purple in here instead of the pink and just used that purple, but sometimes when you mix, you get a color depth, like a depthness. Is that a word? Depthness?
Depth.
Nobody answered me.
It's depth.
The color.
I don't know, like, continue with the
know where
sentence.
you're going with it.
There's a depth and color when you mix as opposed to when you just use it straight out of the tube. And so that's why I like to mix my colors, 1, and 2, you can control the temperature or like the secondary colors when you're mixing. So for example, we can get a more pink purple by mixing or a more blue purple by mixing our purples. Does that make sense? It just depends on how much pink you put in and how much purple. So if I wanted to do that, I could still do that by just using purple and then mixing in pink and then mixing in blue. That's a way to do it too, but then that would have been like another color I had to put in there that's not necessary when we can just mix it.
Get more variation.
Yes, you get more variation. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna show you, what I like to do is I like to line my paints up on the edge of my palette, because the middle on these palette trays are lifted on purpose. That's not a design mistake, that's how they are. And then I drag color to the middle to mix. So I'm gonna take like a swoop of that and then a little swoop of blue. And then there is some purple. Now if I want to make it more pink, I grab more of the magenta. So that's more of like a pink purpley there. And then if I want a more blue purple, then I just make sure I have more blue. So you can see the color difference just right there. We have the more pink color and we have a more blue purple. And we're gonna use both. So when I say a more pink colored, that just means there's gonna have more pink brought into that mixture. So it's fun. Mixing colors is fun. You guys are great. Okay, now the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna practice a little wet and wet technique. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab your 6 and you're gonna get it wet. And then you hit it off the side, because if you go straight from paintbrush to paper directly, usually there's too much water in that. So you get your paintbrush wet. I'm using my round 6. You hit it off the side a couple of times. And then I'm just going to do, let's do like a, I'm just gonna do like a, what is this shape? Like
Teardrop?
a teardrop, but an upside down teardrop. So a balloon shape kind of. And then while it's still wet, I'm gonna pick up some color and I'm gonna go along the edge of that color. Just like that. Now, while it's still wet, when you go along the edge of it, that color is automatically going to disperse throughout, which is what we want. We kind of want it to like move out a little bit. So I'm just touching the edge of it. So if I'm taking, and you can do it with any shape really, you can just do it with a circle, you can do it with a rectangle, just kind of touch the color on that very edge and let it move. So sometimes, depending on how the water is sitting on the paper, sometimes it stays right there, sometimes it moves out. If it is staying right there, like you can see on this, kind of how it just stayed right in that area, and if you want to like push it, you can. Feel free to push it. You can just like move that color around and be like, come on little fella, spread around a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that.
Spread your wings, little buddy.
The middle part too.
Well, the first one I didn't, and then the second one I did.
Someone up a little bit higher said that their dog comes running when they hear your voice on the...
Their dog comes running when they, is that a good thing?
Yeah,
Good
it's
thing?
cute.
Yeah.
So cute.
I don't sound like a dog howling or something. I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with this.
I don't know. I just feel like dogs hear when other dogs. Let's move on. I really appreciate that. Somebody posted in our group that when she's watching the video, she has a parrot that laughs when I laugh. And I want to see that video so bad. She said she'll try and record it because that's hilarious. Okay, so this is the very first technique that we're going to do, where we're going to outline our petals, so whatever shape that is. We're not going to fill them in totally yet with water, and then you just go along the edge and then you let that color kind of blend out. So it's going to move, it's going to spread, it's going to do its own thing. And then what we're going to do from there is we kind of like softly blend. And when I mean softly blend, I mean that I'm going to make sure my brush is mostly dry, just like a little damp, and I'm just going to like do small brush strokes out. So we're gonna like put color in and then we're just going to move the paint a little bit. Now the next thing that we're gonna do, and if you still have a wet surface, which this one's still wet so I can do it in this one, but if you don't, then just make like a wet area. I want you to take paint and just drop color into it. So you're just gonna like, in the middle, put color in there. And we're doing this because when we do our stem, we're gonna get some super interesting, see how we have these like textures going on here where there's different blooms and like these hard lines of colors? That's usually how that happens is I do like a wash, so a solid color, usually like green is what we'll do on the stem, and then I just drop in color.
All right, I gotta answer people. Okay, so if you were to purchase 2 brushes, you'd probably get a round 2 and a round 6. Yes, we do need shirts that say "Come on, little fella." You would get a pan like that on letsmakeart.com, the most wonderful website in the whole internet. And what colors are you using again, real quick?
Really quick, we are using lemon yellow, Tahoe blue, magenta, and leaf green. That just translates to blue, green, pink, yellow. Those are the 4 colors that we're using.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
So that happened probably because I had too much water?
Yes.
And this is less water?
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes if you have like an actual puddle on your paper, so where if like you look to the side, it's just sitting there in like a puddle and you try and drop color in, sometimes it just stays right there. It won't move around, which don't feel bad if that happens. It's totally easy to do that. So when you're putting water down on your paper, you want to make sure it's more of like a thin to medium layer. You don't want it a puddle because if it's like more of a medium layer, it will spread. Whereas that puddle just drops. What's up?
The spreading is so much better when you do it like that.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Hi, babe.
Was that your husband commenting?
That chicken overall says hi.
Okay, the other thing that you can do that's really cool with watercolor is when an area is still wet like this, instead of dropping in a color, so here I did a blue wash and then I dropped in green and yellow, so I got these really cool textures. Another thing that you can do is just drop water straight in it, like that. And when you drop water into a wash like that, it's gonna push the pigment to the edge of the water wherever that water stops. For me, I love that because you just get super cool, they're called blooms. I used to call them explosions, but I think the technical term is blooms. So you can call it whatever you want. How hard you want to feel, I guess, because it's like I'm in an explosion. Michael, you're supposed to laugh when I say a funny joke. So really kind of embrace this with watercolor. Watercolor has a mind of its own, and for some people that's really stressful because you just want to like control every step of it. But with watercolor, we embrace the fact that it does the work for us. It like just does it because it's just cool. It just moves on its own and it's so great. So you just got to let it. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to go over. Oh, let's do another wash. So like this is a wash right here. It's just when you're kind of putting down paint and water at the same time. Now we have different values of washes. If you want like a dark wash, you would have more paint on your brush than water, so it's going to be a little bit darker. If you want to lighten it up, you just add water to it. So this is the same paint color, but I just added more water on this second one, and that's how I got a lighter green. So in watercolor, if you want a color to be lighter, you add water to the mix. Now, when you layer washes, this is kind of more of a wet on dry technique. So here I have this kind of red spot, and you can do, if you have a spot that's dry, you can do wherever it is dry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of color and just kind of over the top of it, I'm just going to do another wash. Because I just want you guys to see that watercolor is transparent and you will see the color underneath, which is great. It's really cool. That's how you can build up layers and build depth and value, and it's super fun. Okay, I think we're about ready to go. I might need more pink, actually. Hold on one second. Here we go. I used a lot of it in my warm-up. All right. Lori says, what is another color name for Tahoe blue? So if you're using Dr. P.H. Martin's, that would be Norway blue. I guess the closest equivalent I can think of in standard paint would maybe be like a phthalo blue. Would be kind of close. Okay. That's it for warm-ups. Let's get into it.
It's getting real.
It's getting real. This is the good part.
People are saying thank you for the floral print included in the March box.
Oh, I'm so glad you guys like that. Hold on, let me take a drink. I'm just really sorry that our boxes were late again, and it breaks my heart. And so I just want you guys to know that we really care about you as a company, and I hope you really like your floral print and you frame it somewhere and that you think happy thoughts when you think of LMA. Okay, let's get started. So I have my round 6 and my round 2. Those are the paint brushes that we are using tonight. I have my paper towel. You always want a paper towel when you're painting with watercolor. And I have my paint colors, so we're gonna dive right into it. So I'm gonna start on this left petal first and then work my way over. Now again, this is the part that takes the longest time, so just be patient. This is the longer step, but you guys can do it. And what I'm going to do, so what you can see with these petals is they're a really roughly petal. We have a lot of like edges, and it's kind of like the edge of the petal is doing this a lot. Yeah. Oh, the oath. Thank you for reminding me.
It wasn't me.
You guys, thanks for reminding me about the oath. I was so excited to paint. Okay, everybody raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
Not to compare my work.
Thank you. And I promise to have fun.
And I promise to have fun.
Okay, thank you for that. I love doing that because sometimes we do things without realizing it. And so when we say like, hey, be kind to yourself, stop comparing, you don't even realize that that's what you were doing. And so it's like, okay, we're fine, we're fine. So just a little friendly reminder, it's normal that you guys feel that way, but let's take that out of this. This is just about fun. This is just about creating. It's just about having a good time, and it's not fair to compare our work because we all have different experiences. So, thank you so much for reminding me about that. Okay, let's get started now. So, now with these petals, they have a front side and a back side. So there's different ways where you can communicate the front and back of something, right? So what I'm gonna do, just to make it a little bit easier on ourselves, is the back side, I've made it more of a blue purple. So this is the back side of the petal. Here you can kind of see the back side poking out on these edges. So I chose to make that more of the blue purple as opposed to the pink purple. Now you just have to be careful because you don't want it to be like pink and blue. You still want it to be in the purple family. Does that make sense? But it's just kind of an easier way to communicate that there's two sides to this form and we're painting both of them. Let's go. So I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to mix more of like a pinkish purple. And that needs a little bit more blue, so I'm just going to grab, I just swoop my blue into it. And this might be really stressful for you guys who are not used to painting, but just remember, it's just about playing with it. Don't stress out about this part. And remember that you have control. So if it's like, this purple is too blue, that's okay. Add another swoop of pink. You'll be fine.
Sarah, was there a yellow coiffure in March? About labels, yellow, lemon, and...
Oh, it says on the step out daffodil yellow. And I think maybe in the tutorial, but they got lemon yellow in their boxes. So I'm using lemon yellow tonight. So whatever supplies you're using in your box, I'm going to use the same ones. But lemon yellow and daffodil yellow are super similar. Daffodil yellow is slightly warmer, or dandelion yellow is slightly warmer, so that's the only difference. But for this part, since we're mixing it in with like green.
Uh-oh. Mike's dead.
Mike is dead?
Did you sit on it or something?
I don't think I did. We good?
No, here.
Is it dead?
Dude, you gotta use mine.
We just put batteries in it. Okay. We good? We put batteries in it, but maybe they died quicker than we thought. Okay. We're good to go. Thank you, guys.
I feel like I don't have enough paint. I don't know if I do or not.
Yeah, you can mix a little bit more.
This is run too.
Here, you have more colors here.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, guys. So, I mixed my purple. Oh, it's going into my yellow. That's okay. So, also with these palettes, and I did this to poor Hannah, and I'm sorry. If you put too much paint on there, they're going to start to run together. You can see that happening there. Just keep an eye on it. That's why I like to add as I go. But let's get started. So, I'm going to, the same thing that we did in our warm-up, I'm going to go on this petal just using my brush that has water on it, no paint. And I'm just going to kind of outline the edges here. Now, in order for it to get that kind of splayed out, like bleed out thing that we want, you have to work kind of quick. So if you work slower, where it takes you a little bit of time to get the water onto the paper, then maybe do this in sections. But if you work fast, then you should be able to kind of do it right away. Now, I've been talking, so my water has already started to dry. And if that happens to you, it's not a big deal, just re-wet it. So I'm just picking up water again. I'm going to take my purple, and I'm just going to go along the edge.
Do you add water to your paints on your palette?
Do I add water to my palette? If I need it to be a lighter value, I will sometimes swoop water in, but most of the time it's just how much water I have on my brush when I start to paint. So you're going to put that color down, and it's going to start to kind of blend and bleed. Yep. And then what I'm going to do, just to give it a little bit more pow, is I'm going to actually pull in a little bit more pink and just kind of go right over it. So we kind of have like an edge here. And you guys have been sharing your iris paintings on our Facebook group, and they're beautiful. I love seeing it. One thing that I have been noticing a lot is that the colors have been super, super dark. And with this flower, the petals are, like floral petals are pretty transparent themselves. They kind of, because they're so thin. So I know, especially if you're not used to watercolor, you're gonna wanna use a ton of paint, but I'm gonna try and remind you to like really let the water do a lot of the work. So now what I'm gonna do, I put that color down. I'm just gonna like damp my brush a little bit, get it wet with just water, and I'm just gonna softly move this color out. So it's gonna be a lighter value since I'm just using water. And then you can see in the outline, I kind of have like a line right here. That's gonna tell me how far out I'm gonna blend my color. So you see that, this chunk right here? So I'm gonna blend to kind of that area. What's that?
I forgot to switch it to overhead.
Oh, the volume? Oh, the painting.
We're okay. Richard wants to know, what's the best way to work as a left-hander?
For left,
I turned my painting upside down so that I don't,
Yeah.
Otherwise I'd be running into this while we're doing the next one.
Are you an overwriter or an underwriter?
Underwriter. Overrider.
Overrider.
But when I'm painting, I do under.
Okay, I'm so glad you're here left-handed. Hannah just flips her paper.
Yep. Hannah
So
has the
glad you're
answer.
here. Hannah, I was just like, oh shoot, I don't know, I'm not left-handed. Okay, so that is our first run of this petal. We will come back to it, but we're gonna move on to the next section, okay? So I'm going to do this petal right here that's to the side, and when it gets towards the back, it might get confusing. We have a lot of lines going on, so you might be like, what's the front, what's the back, what's going on? I will try and help you, but also it's your painting and you can just decide that. Like, that's totally up to you. It's your painting, it's your world. So on this one, we have a line that comes here, so this chunk right here is the front, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna grab my water, go along this edge, like so. And then I'm gonna put my paint here and follow that, and it's gonna bleed out. So same process, I'm gonna put that in, get that edge in, and you wanna do it while it's wet, and then you're gonna just softly blend a little bit of this color out. Now remember to use water. Now, it is hard because sometimes when you go for a lighter value, and I say like you want more water, that you're automatically gonna have more water on your brush. But really what I mean is you're picking up paint, you're adding water to it, like so. And then after I got that mixture, what I'll do is I'll hit my paper towel, and my paper towel will soak up that excess, but I'll still have that lighter value. Like so. And then you can see, because we have mixed our colors, that some colors peek out at different times than other ones. Like you can see here, I kind of have a bit more of the pink poking out in that mixture. So it's by the purple, but there's a little bit of pink undertones there. And I love that. That's the really great thing about mixing colors, is they're gonna kind of like move a little bit and maybe sometimes separate a little bit, and that is cool. Embrace it, love it. Okay, I'm gonna just, do I need it? You guys can tell me to slow down if you're not where I'm at yet. I can talk. I can take a sip of water. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna keep going on this back petal here. So same thing, I'm gonna go along like this edge with just water, pick up some paint.
Lynn Frissinger's confused because her dog just got into a fight with a possum. She missed a little bit of the painting.
Oh no, I'm sorry about your dog.
Possums are disgusting.
Oh, possums are a little bit scary. I saw one in the daytime once. It had that means it has rabies, doesn't it?
I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but they're
Is that
gross.
a myth? Somebody tell us if that's true or not.
I know everything's like beautiful in its own way, except possums
Except possums.
and
Okay, but
mosquitoes.
they're the only marsupials in America.
Well, now I kind of like them.
Well, all right.
Okay.
When you come in with facts like that, I guess they're not that bad.
They're minority.
The rabies thing is not real, it turns out.
Oh, rabies thing is not real? Thank you for letting me know that. Okay. I love the color you have on yours. That's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, and they eat ticks.
They eat ticks?
Okay, I've turned around
We
about
have to
possums.
get possums. There are ticks everywhere in Missouri.
Yeah.
In California, I didn't experience them that much, but out here, they're everywhere. They're tiny too. They're like so tiny.
Where are you going to get a possum?
I'll find one on the black market.
Some possum food.
Some possum food, obviously.
Open.
Okay. So I'm going to keep going across. Now on this back part here, I guess on this farthest or the top petal, the top part on our page, this section right here is the back part of the petal, and this section right here is the front. So this is going to be the more pink. This section will be the more blue. So I'm going to do this section. So using just water, you're going to put that in there and then pick up some color.
Pink, you said, on this part?
Yeah, this is going to be the more pink one. I can't remember how I did it in the pre-recorded, but I thought it would be easier if we did all the more pinky purples first and then did our blue purples at the same time. So that way we're not switching back and forth the entire time.
Barb says she has a pet possum. No one replied. And like a few lines later she said, I'm not weird. He's a rescue.
Cute.
I don't think you're weird. Pet possum, what's its name?
He lives on the porch in a basket and he loves to eat bananas.
Oh,
I had no idea that's a dog.
I did. You know what? They're creatures too with feelings and everything. We need to open our hearts to possums, Michael.
No. Possum killed my cat.
Oh, man. Well,
They
they
sound like banshees.
do they?
If that's what killed my cat. It was terrifying.
It was probably an actual banshee. Killed the cat.
Okay, we have one more front to do. It's going to be the farthest petal on the right-hand side.
His name's Earl, by the way.
Oh, the pet's name. That's so cute, the possum.
I like Earl.
Earl the possum. That's really great, actually. Okay, so the petal farthest to the right, it's mostly the pink color except this little peekaboo right there and this little section right there. Those are the back parts. Now again, if you accidentally paint the back part front colors, it's not a big deal. Don't get mad at yourself. Flowers fall in all different ways and shapes and perspectives, and so somewhere there's going to be a flower like that, and you're doing it right. So don't stress about it. You're doing awesome. So I'm taking my water, going along the edge, and if you can work quickly, you might be able to get it all in one go. I don't know if I will be able to. But remember, if it just dries, just re-wet it. It's not a big deal. Now I think I like this like more pink mixture that I made here. I think on the handout it's more purple, but
This one?
yeah, I'm just really loving this. I'm just going with it. That's why I also like mixing your colors, because it's going to look different every time you paint it, and really,
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's the best part. So after you put that edge in there, I'm just going to take my damp brush and softly blend out. And by soft, I mean we're doing small brush strokes with a very damp brush. Now if you have too much water and you're pushing it out and the color is really strong, like let's say I'm doing this and I'm like, oh no, that's too dark, I don't want it that dark, you can lift color up. So I'm just going to wet that area just with water, and then you can either use your brush, so take your brush and lift up the color like so and wipe it on your paper towel, or you can take your actual paper towel and blot it. So whatever works better for you.
People in Arizona are a little thrown off because us in the normal world have changed to daylight savings time or out of daylight savings time. I don't know which one. But in Arizona, they don't do that. So it's just, the live is just an hour earlier to them.
No, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Wait, they don't have daylight saving times in Arizona?
They're just like, we're not doing that.
I
watched a thing about it. It turns out it was like made by the big shopping. I don't know.
They need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I heard it was for farmers, and now I feel like I've been lied to.
It was for farmers?
So they have more
Give
daylight.
them more daylight.
Oh.
And then, like, the Native Americans were like, white people are the only people we know who think you can change the time of day and get more sun.
Okay. So I kind of softly blended out a little bit.
We got some shade being thrown on YouTube. Someone said that Well, we were talking about possums.
Oh.
Someone
what?
said that I said they're the weirdest creatures, and someone said I have a fiance. He's the strangest creature in the world. And then they said, it's just all men. Men are the strangest creatures in the world.
You guys are funny. Okay, so now we're gonna do the back part of our. Actually, we have a little front coming up right here. So on this petal that's right here in the front, we have this lip where the front part of the petal is peeking out. Do you guys see that section right there? Mm-hmm. So that's the front part of the petal, like the edge coming over. So I'm gonna just do that edge really quick in this more pink purple. So if you're in Arizona, I'm really sorry that we're just going and you're not ready yet.
They said Arizona does not need any more sunshine.
Arizona's like, we're good on the sun, thanks. Okay.
Nope, I missed it.
No, that's okay.
I think it's underneath
It's
here.
right here.
But then it'll just look like one.
Well, then just leave it. Just pretend that that line's not there and just have that be your back petal.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm gonna erase. Oh, I can't because it's graphite.
You can try, yeah. It does erase a little bit. It's just when it's a super dark line that you can't erase it. Okay, now we're gonna do the back part of the petal. So I'm gonna grab a little bit more blue into the mixture. So this is kind of like a cooler purple. But I don't want to go in there straight with blue because then it would be like, so just kind of be aware of how these colors look next to each other. We want them to still feel like they're in the same family. Like they're just slightly different from each other, not strongly different from each other. So, and remember you can layer it. So if I put my first color down and it's really blue and I put that down and I'm like, ooh, that's too blue for what I want. It's not a big deal. You can lift up the color and then you can do another layer over it to kind of pinken it up a bit. So it's not a huge deal. Just kind of try and be aware of it. So this one, because we're doing the back part, for the most part, we're not going to do that same like water first and then drop it in. We're going to just kind of do a wash. So it's going to be like this purple that we're kind of just going in here and just kind of filling it in with this more blue purple. Like so. And if it bleeds a little bit, that's okay.
Bleeds into the other one.
Yeah, if it bleeds into the other one, it's not a big deal. Don't stress. So I'm just kind of going through. Now the one part that we will do that same technique is this main petal right here where we see the full back of it. That is where we're going to do that same water first and then drop it in. But all these other parts, you can just do that more bluish.
We're getting some creative artists because someone's dog keeps jumping in their lap. Getting dog hair in the paint / brush, and it's creating new textures.
You know what? That's a great way to do it. You just go with it. You're like dog hair art. Somebody would buy it.
Dart.
Dart. Introducing Dart. So the colors that I'm using, they're still in the same family. They're not strongly different, but they're different enough that you can kind of tell. Now we have this back little petal hiding right here. That's on the back part. That one I'm just going to kind of fill in really quick.
The pinkish purple? Or
That one, it's more the blue purple.
You know, I was nervous about this, but it's going well.
You're doing great. Both of you are doing really amazing.
I practiced.
Did you?
Yeah, for sure.
100% practice.
People are daydreaming. Every time that you laugh, they're thinking about the parrot laughing.
I want to see that parrot laughing video so
I hope it
hard.
exactly mimics your laugh.
I do too. I really do. I saw that in the feed and I just about died. I thought that was the funniest thing. Okay.
Also, people mimic your voice outside of this, and they say "don't stress" in your voice.
What is that in my voice?
Don't stress.
Don't.
Is that it?
That's it.
Did I
You
get
nailed it? Michael, you know me better than anybody. You got it right. First try. Okay.
You guys are married.
Okay, now we're going to do the final petal here. Now, if you're looking at yours and you're like, my colors are different than yours, that is okay. We are mixing colors here, so they will be different. It's not a big deal. We embrace that, and we embrace what we bring to the table. Everybody has a different perspective. Everybody brings something different to this art table, so just love where you are. Just accept who you are and love it. That's all I want. Okay.
I love how that just a little bit of blue pushes it back in space and makes that other petal come forward. It makes magic.
Yeah, just slightly changing that color. It's so much more clear now where you're like, oh, that clearly is the under part of it that we're just getting kind of peaks of. So it's just these little things you guys can do to make it kind of more obvious to the viewer of what is going on. Now we have one more little petal we gotta tackle, which is this one. And this is the one where I will do that same technique by putting the water down first. Like so, grabbing that more purpley color. Now, because this is the back part of the petal, I'm gonna go a little, like, when I blend this out, I'm not gonna blend all the way down to here. I want it to be mostly a really, really light color, or even almost white, because it's the back part of our petal. So I'm gonna just use water to slightly spread out this color. And then like a big chunk of this is just gonna be white. So this like whole thing right here is just white so far. We will put a little bit of green in there because that's where the petal is shooting out from the bud. So there will be a transition of a green, but that will be in a later step. But
It's
for
check-in
now,
time.
it's just a little thing. Check-in time?
Check-in time.
Okay.
People are being nostalgic about how many check-ins there used to be.
No, you're right. We used to do a lot more check-ins, so let's get back.
We're checking in.
Let's do it.
All right.
Tell me when you're ready.
Let's do.
Let's check in time.
That means we look at your painting, and I.
Let's do Jesse's.
Okay. Let me do it.
And then you can pull Hannah's over to top cam when you're ready.
Okay.
Actually, why don't you let's pull Jesse's over. The top
Okay.
cam is
Just go
better.
to top
Yeah,
cam.
Top cam's better.
Okay, so we have Jesse's over here, and there are some things that I'm just so in love with, like this texture that she got here by dropping in. You see how it's like they just make these lines on their own when you drop in color, and it's so gorgeous and it's so cool. So I think that that is really beautiful. The only thing that I would say where I know I talked about leaving this light, but I still want more of an edge on this part.
Okay.
That's the only thing, but besides that, I think it's looking really good, and I think the textures that you're getting here by just doing that wet and wet drop and letting it do its thing, they're gorgeous.
So can I add water back right there to add a little more value
Yes.
on top of it and nothing bad will
You
happen?
can. Well, you might get a little bloom when you add the water on top, so you might get like a little texture line wherever that water edge stops.
But it could be cool, right?
It can be really cool, or you can just softly blend it out.
As it's so wet.
Yes.
I'll try that.
Okay, we're gonna bring yours over. Are you at a stopping point? Okay.
I'll be okay.
Okay, I love this edge that you have right here, especially on this petal. Like, that's so gorgeous, that transition from that deep color forward. Super beautiful. I love that. I think this transition is really nice. The only thing I would say is maybe we need to go in there, and you don't even have to like redo that entire drop in water, but maybe kind of sharpen up this edge a little bit, because this kind of curls right here into a lip. If you look at, see how it kind of like does that U, and we kind of lost that just slightly. And so what you can do, is it okay if I paint on yours?
Yeah.
Okay. I never know. Some people might be like, don't, you ruined it. One time I was painting on someone's and I dropped the paintbrush on the paper. And I was like, I'm so sorry I just did that. When it's my own, I can be like, whatever, but someone else's, I'm like, I'm really sorry. Okay, so you can just go in using your round 2 and grab some color and just put that edge back in.
You said your edges look like velvet.
They really do.
Jesse, they said yours were ethereal.
Ooh, that's a good word. So if you lose an edge like that, especially with such a roughly flower we have front and backs, it's okay if you want to go in and define it a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean like do like a thin line. Don't do a super thick outline because that's going to flatten our flower. So it's just like the softest little detail of like, oh, well, here's an edge actually. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it looks, yeah, I think it's beautiful, and these textures that you're getting from doing that wet and wet are like beautiful. So gorgeous.
Sarah, Barb
Yeah.
is stressing that her lines are not crisp. What should she do different?
Her lines are not crisp.
She says her lines on these petals are not crisp. She's stressing.
So what you can do is in our very last step, I will kind of add a little bit of a stronger edge on some of my petals and do a little bit of detail lines. So you can do that with me in that last step. The only thing that I want you to be aware of is when you have a flower that is super wet. So if these edges are wet and you're trying to get a hard line or a detail line and you put paint in there, that paint is automatically going to blend out. So sometimes the best thing to do is just to leave it for a second and let it dry and then go back in and redo that edge. And actually I'm going to redo the edge on mine on this back petal a little bit because I want it a little bit darker. So actually let's just do the water first and see what that will do.
Marcy says her iris looks like an elephant strangling itself with its own trunk. Can you help her?
If that is what your painting is turning into, that sounds amazing, and you should just keep going with that. I would love to see what that looks like.
Please continue.
Please just keep doing what you're doing because that sounds great. So I just went in and I did a slightly darker edge on the back part. And then as I move down this petal, I'm just using water to move it down. But remember to dry your brush off between doing this. If you go straight from water to your paper in one swoop, then it can get too wet. And if you do have a puddle on your paper and you're not really sure what to do, just take your paper towel and soak up that extra water. That will help with that.
Can I do anything about that? Little mouth being tooth?
Middle cam.
No, I wouldn't. Just like this section right here.
Well, no, it looks like a cave. Like
I didn't even see that.
I didn't even notice that. That's you can either like learn to live with it and just not let it bother you, or if you want to try and go back in and redefine that little, I'm trying to think. Maybe
that's where the little yellow part would usually stick out.
yeah. You can put yellow. Is this part of this petal? We can just put yellow there. Okay. If you want, you can actually take water there and lift up that color. So when you put the yellow there, it will stand out a little bit better.
Okay,
that's what I would do. Okay. So that's step one. You guys, we made it through. And you did awesome, and that's the hardest part of the painting. So you are doing a really great job. I'm sorry that the hardest part had to be the first step, but you did really great. Now we're gonna move on to step two. We are going to do the yellow centers. So I have yellow on my palette, and then as you can see in your examples, it's yellow, and then there's like a touch of orange. And to get that orange, I just mixed the yellow with the magenta. So I'm gonna grab some yellow. I'm going to put yellow down first, so I'm going to just take my yellow. I like to put strong color down first and then kind of rinse my brush a little bit and dab it on my paper towel and then blend out just a little bit just to kind of where that outline is for now. And then I mix my yellow with my magenta and get more of an orange color, and I'm going to drop in orange at the top part while it's wet because I don't want like super detail lined. It's going to diffuse and blend out, and that's what I want. So I'm just going to like just drop that in there. Like so. Oh, let's see. Megan says, I noticed that while you're blending down, your brush is actually making small upward motions. Is that because you're trying to keep most of the color at the top of the petal? Yes, Megan, that was a great observation, and I should have said that out loud. So when you're blending color, you can actually kind of push the color where you want it to go. So if I want my yellow to go out this way, I'd blend out this way. If I want to keep most of the color towards a direction, that's the way I would move it. So I would move it there, so then when it does stop, it gathers in one spot. So if you want like the top part to be darker, you can like use your water to blend out and then actually push the color back towards the top while it's wet. It will only move in the water while it's wet. Okay, now we're gonna do the right part of the petal. So I'm putting my yellow in. Like so, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit of the magenta in there so it makes like an orange, and just kind of like, you're gonna kind of like dot it a little bit where it's like do, 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 do. And it's gonna naturally just like bleed and blend a little bit because the area is wet. Like so. And then we have a little hint of yellow in this petal right here. Now, because it's like this petal is hiding it, we're not gonna see a lot of it. So we're just seeing like a little, like the softest little, like here's a tiny bit of yellow. This one I didn't add orange to because the petal would be covering that part. So it's just going out like that. Oh, sorry, I kicked your foot. Now another thing that I like to do is after I put in my yellows and I've given it a second to dry, I'm actually just gonna take my brush just with water and hit it on my paper towel to dampen it a bit. And I'm actually gonna blend this area where my yellow and my like pink purple is. Just softly kind of blend it. Because if we leave too much pure white on the painting, it could become distracting because it's almost like standing out too much, and we want to make that transition a little bit smoother. So just with the damp brush, I'm going to softly blend. Now remember, this is your painting. If you really like the white space in between and you don't want to cover it up, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do what I'm doing. For me, I just felt like the transition felt better by softly blending the color in between. Like so. And you're going to want to do this back one too. Can you guys hear that rain? I don't know if you guys can hear it. We can.
It's very relaxing.
It is really relaxing. I actually have rain sounds on my Spotify, and so sometimes when I'm reading, I'll just put on rain, and my husband's looking at me because I got that idea from him. But it's really great because it's like this really great and relaxing background noise while you're reading a book. It's because I love you. That's why I do it. All right.
She steals all my good ideas. I stole it from Interstellar when they're in outer space. He misses the rain.
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember that part, but that's a good movie. Okay, we finished step 2. Great job, you guys. That step was so quick compared to step 1, but you're doing awesome. Step number 3, we're just going to do the stem and the bud. So this is where you're going to want to get your green. So now remember me, I love mixing my colors. So I'm going to use green, but then I'm going to heavily use yellow and blue and drop in those colors on the stem. It just adds so much more depth to your colors when you mix in other colors instead of just using like green and black to make a stem darker. You can use green and blue. So, and this one you can, so I'm going to just lay my green down. I'm doing it kind of at the same time. Now, a lot of the times we might be tempted to just color this in and leave it, but I would highly suggest you taking the time. You're going to put the color in, and then I want you to mix in a little bit of blue with your green and just go along and kind of drop that in. I'm going to focus more on the left side, dropping that in. Because already, just by adding another value to our stem, it already makes the stem a little bit more interesting. If I were to leave this stem that same green across the entire thing and didn't like have lights and darks in it, it would appear very flat. So whenever you want to make something feel like it has form, it has dimension, that it's three-dimensional, you want to make sure you have light values and medium values and dark values. So I'm using my blue-green to act as my dark value. So there's my darker value. I can put a little bit of darker. So I'm focusing more on the left-hand side, putting in my dark value because I kind of want it to feel like it's turning away from us, so it's shaded on that side. However, if it blends out and it like kind of goes across the thing, it's not a big deal. And this is also a good place to drop in some yellow.
Just straight yellow?
Just straight. So I'm gonna put a little bit like a light green here, and then I'm gonna use just straight yellow to drop it in. And I need more yellow. So that's just pure yellow that I'm dropping in there. I'm not too worried about smoothing it out because again, when you drop in water or when you drop in color like that, it's gonna create blooms and textures, and I love those. So I'm not gonna touch it. Now, if you don't love those and you want it smooth, after you drop it in, you would work your brush back and forth and smooth out and kind of even it out a little bit. But if you can, try and leave it because I think it's really cool and it just adds visual interest to your painting. Okay, now as we get up to the top here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rinse my brush and just use water to move the color that I already laid down into this part of the petal. So since it's coming out of the bud, there is going to be like a little bit of green on that underside of the petal there. But I don't want it to be too dark. We want it to be almost like a transition from like, this is clearly the bud, and then it has a little bit of green to it. Kind of like when something ripens. You know what I mean? How there's like that transition color. So here, it's going to be a little bit of like a yellow-green. It's not going to go all the way up my iris. It's really just like in this section right here where I kind of have those lines. So it's just like a hint. Now I do have like a line going hard across this edge right here on the outline. Now I kind of put in a little bit of brown on there because again, when buds like peel back, little pieces die away and they turn brown and they kind of curdle, you know. So to make brown, what you can do is you can actually take some of your magenta, put it to the center and grab a little bit of green, and that's going to make brown. And if you don't want it that dark, add some yellow to it and it makes it a lighter brown. So I'm just going to introduce a little bit of brown across here.
There's some debates going on about your branded paints. Could you clarify between P.H. Martin and your brand?
Oh, sure. So Dr. P.H. Martin is their own brand of paint. They have multiple lines. They have a Hydrus, Radiant, multiple things. There's really great. In the beginning part of Let's Make Art, we were using Dr. P.H. Martin's for all of our kits and everything that we did. And then as we started the subscription, we started mixing our own colors or our own paints called Dandelion Paint Company. So if you get our subscriptions and our kits, when we use those are the brands that are in there. They're really similar to Dr. P.H. Martin. The reason why we started mixing our own is just for control in quantities. Because we've been growing so fast, we needed to be able to make our own paints, because suppliers wouldn't necessarily be able to keep up with us on such late notice, because we switch every month and we're growing every month. So we are using Dandelion paint right now, but you can use whatever paint you have. And in our earlier kits, we are using Dr. P.H. Martin. So that's why you'll see both of them included if you've ordered multiple kits throughout our life, our living as a company, if that helps at all.
So yes, your original kits did come with P.H. Martin.
The original kits came with P.H. Martin. And then we realized, because they're actually not a huge brand, they're not a huge company either. And as we were, kind of putting our subscriptions together, we realized it would be really hard for companies to be able to keep up with the amount we need in such a short notice. So that's why we started mixing our own. And they are similar. The colors are similar to each other, so I can let you know the equivalents if you ever have questions. Okay. So I did my bud here, or this part. I want to add a little bit more of this green blue. I'm loving that color. It's so pretty. I'm just going to kind of drop it in here. And then I'm going to do this bud on this side. So this bud is about to bloom. So the bottom half is going to be green, and I'm going to drop in a lot of yellow there too, just because I really like doing that, dropping in yellow with the green. Maria asked if the Dandelion paints are light fast. So neither the Radiant Concentrate from Dr. P.H. Martin nor the Dandelion paints they are not light fast. And the difference between that and two paints, if they are light fast, they're pigment based. And then liquid watercolors are dye based, so they can be more vibrant. Usually with pigment paints, they are light fast. However, the color itself is not as vibrant. And for me, I like color, and I like being able to play with color and really putting it out there. So I like the dye-based paints. But if that's a problem for you, there's nothing wrong with using two paints. You can use whatever paints you feel comfortable using. It's completely up to you. I know a lot of people ask how I save my artwork since they're not light fast. I scan it. I just scan it. I keep a file of it, or I take a picture of it. But since I'm an illustrator, for me, it's more important to like the paint that I'm using as I'm using it than to have something last for years and years and years. Okay. So I put my green down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my purple. So I'm going to grab some purple here.
Sorry, Taylor asked this a long time ago and I skipped it.
Yeah.
But she asked, how long does the pigment last if you don't protect them? Do you have any idea? Is it 10 days? Is it 10 years?
It really just depends on where you're putting it in your house. For me, I keep all of my paintings on my desk or in a drawer, and I've never noticed them fading. However, if you put these paints in direct sunlight, they will fade. I think probably within a couple of months, my mother-in-law saw a difference in the fading, but her room gets direct sunlight the entire day, all day. So it really just depends on where the painting is in general. Also, even if you're using light fast paints, like just pigment-based paints in general, and you want it to last a long time, usually you don't want to put art in direct sunlight anyway. It's not the best idea if you want to keep it for a really long time. But for me, I like painting for me, so I'm okay with it just not lasting a super long time. I just like to paint. So whatever you feel comfortable using, I really don't think there's a wrong way. Okay, so I'm gonna put some purple in here. and it's gonna bleed into my green a little bit, and it's gonna create this weird brown color, and that is okay. We kind of like it. It's kind of cool. It's gonna get messy. It's gonna like blend and do all these funky things, and we're just gonna let it, because it's like, yeah, you be free, bud. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's kind of fun.
Bud. Is it a pun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you caught that.
Also excited about that I missed your joke. I'm like,
That's okay. So I purposely am touching my purple to my green. I know when they mix, they're gonna be muddy colors. That's okay. I kind of want that to happen. I love seeing that. I'm into it. Jesse's into it. We're loving it.
I really like that. It's fun.
Okay. So that's step 3. We're almost done with this painting. You guys are doing an awesome job. Now this very last step, this is details, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky because it truly depends on your painting specifically. So this is where it's a great time to take a step back from your painting. If you are able to, like, and it's dry enough, hold it up, or like leave it on your desk and walk away and then come back to it, but get some space in between, because that's how you can look at your painting fresh, and then you can also decide the best things that you need to do for it. Now for me, I'm pretty happy with my with the colors and the shapes that I'm getting. What I am going to do is I'm going to kind of redo some of these edges, because I want just a little bit of a crisper line. And then on the ruffle parts, where if you see our outline here, you can see that I have these lines going in. I'm going to kind of define those a little bit just with like a light wash. And these are important because this is communicating to our viewer that the petal shape is going like back and forth and has movement. So we want it to be clear that it's like it's doing this, where if we leave those out, then it looks just like a smooth edge a little bit. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to, still using my 6, actually, I'm going to switch to my 2. I'm going to use my round 2. You can use whatever brush you're comfortable with. And just using like a light purple wash. And you can decide if you want to introduce more of a pink color, this is where it'd be a good time to do more of a pink wash. Or if you want to do more of purple on the main part, it's up to you. And I'm just going to kind of follow these lines a little bit. Now I don't want these to be super dark because I don't want it to feel like we're just outlining. It's kind of like we're putting little shadows on it. So it's just like the softest hint of shadows going on these lines. And if you need to look at the outline that you use to kind of remind yourself of where those lines are, go for it. It's a helpful thing to kind of take a look at that. So I'm just going to kind of go across all of my petals and put in these soft line washes to kind of show that it's going. Felicia asked if the dandelion paints are like Liquitex acrylic inks. I don't know. I don't know that answer.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to guess no. Maybe that's the wrong guess.
It's one of 2.
It's one of 2.
Okay, you say no and I'll say yes.
Okay.
One of you will be right.
One of us will be right. I'm sorry, I don't know if that is the same. Okay, so I'm just going to keep going on here. Now, if you're putting these lines in and you're like, this is the same, no, you're fine. This is the same exact color and value that I'm putting that you can't tell, well then pick up a little bit more paint and get it a little bit darker so you can see these little lines. And just for me, I think just adding these final little line edges, just like the softest hint, I think really kind of elevates your painting and really shows the shape of the petals themselves. And then you're gonna wanna do it on this main petal too, like this. I'm calling it the main petal, but I guess it's like the center petal. Oh my gosh, look at what happened with my bud over here. Yeah. Yeah, yours did it too. That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm not comparing.
So good.
I like how yours is like directly like
Like an angle right there.
You're so fancy.
So fancy with my colors that bleed and run into each other.
That's why we watch you.
What accent was that?
It was a really great one, and I'll never be able to do it again. Okay, now the very last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go in and sharpen some of these edges a little bit. So I did my kind of soft wash detail lines that really show that shape of that petal. And then I'm going to go along with like a strong color, strong as in a little bit darker value, more paint than water on my brush. And I'm just going to redo some of these edges. So it's like a nice, now I'm only going to do it here and there. If I were to take this dark outline and do it across the entire thing evenly, it will flatten my painting because it's like sticking an outline on it, and that would kill any dimension that we created. So just in some spaces where I really want to define the front and the back and what is going on, I'm going to do a little bit of a hard edge right there.
That was brave.
It is. Sometimes this is the scary part. Remember, it's just a piece of paper. And sometimes you can say, I know this is going to be so scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. And you just like do it, and then you're like, okay. And if you mess up, you can paint another one. Because these tutorials are always here for you. And it's just a piece of paper. So if you think that it could be really cool to add a dark edge on some parts of your painting, then add it. If you don't want to add it, don't. It's your painting.
I want to be edgy.
Be edgy with me.
Sweet Marcy Clark, who had the elephant strangulation painting,
Yeah.
has decided that the scientific name of her iris is Iris elephantis.
Iris elephantis. I gotta see this painting.
Please post this, Marcy.
Please post it. I really want to see it. So here I'm going to kind of define that edge a little bit more.
Oh, I like this. This is fun.
It is kind of fun. It's just a little like hint. Like this is what's actually going on. I'm not going to do it across the entire thing. I'm killing it with these accents today, honey. Are you hearing it?
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks. And then you look at your painting and you say, I think I'm done. Because I don't want to do anything more to it. It feels, actually, I lied. There we go. Yes. You guys, great job. So wonderful. We're going to hold them up so you guys can see. Michael, are you going to do the slow pan across?
If I want to do like blue drops on mine to make it rain, can I do that?
Yes. I actually, when I was making up this project, what I really wanted to do is just take water and smear it all up, kind of like it's raining at the time. And then I thought, oh, that's really scary. Maybe a different time. But if you're feeling brave, I think actually a couple people have done that in the watercolor group where they really just used water and kind of splattered and kind of like let it bleed and move, and it was so cool. So if you're feeling up to it, go for it. Okay, so we're gonna hold ours up.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay, tell us when you're ready.
Okay, you gotta tip it more to me. Okay, and go. This belongs to Hannah.
That's Hannah's. Look at her velvety edge.
That's lovely.
So beautiful. And look at those textures in there. So great.
Good. All right, now the lovely, multi-talented, uber beautiful Sarah.
Here's mine.
Lovely.
Wait, I'm gonna do a.
We can't see your face.
Oh, dang it. I was posing really great
Here.
faces, you guys.
Now do it.
Oh wait, I don't want to.
Wow.
It's my model. Oh, you're here? Thank you.
Okay,
and we have Jessie's.
Here we go.
I was a little
Zoom in.
No, it's
Wow.
like soft and tender. I feel yours is.
Ethereal.
Ethereal, gorgeous. You guys did so wonderful. I can't wait to see these projects. And this one required a lot of patience because that very first step was a lot of time. So you guys did really great doing that. If you paint this, I want to see it. And so does like your mom or like your daughter or your friend, because they're like, you paint, I want to paint, let's paint together. And it's really awesome. So if you are on Instagram, tag us in it. Let's Make Art hashtag you can use, or you can just tag us directly, Let's Go Make Art. You can share it on your Facebook and use those same tags. Or if you're a little timid about sharing your work, we have a wonderful Facebook community called Let's Make Art Watercolor. It's huge. It's like over 12,000 people. You guys are amazing. But it's a really supportive place where we encourage everybody and accept and love everybody on their watercolor journey. You can be a beginner, and that's where you would want to post it because people are gonna be like, yeah, you're awesome. So thank you for painting with me. Thank you for really being a great community and being patient with us as we get those boxes out to you. And I just really love you guys, and I love this. And do I need to say anything else? Do I have any other announcements? I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
No.
Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.